Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Muse podcast. Hope you're having a lovely day. I am actually in the studio right now and it is so hot. We've got a heat wave today. I've got a fan on me. I'm giving Beyonce. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, I've got the fan directly at my head because it is so warm. But I wanted to talk to you guys because I've been a bit stressed this week. I'm not going to lie. I've been having one of those weeks where I've got too much of a to-do list. My brain is like, I always describe it as, you know, when you have your laptop and there's a million tabs open on Safari. I am that. My brain has constantly got a zillion tabs open, a zillion things on my to-do list. And it got me thinking because I was trying to tell myself, why are you stressed? There's no point in being stressed over things, especially work. And it got me thinking about what success is to me because I'm stressing over these things that truly, really, do they matter? No. And what success actually is to me is being happy, having free time, doing the thing I love, being with my friends and family. And I get to do that every day. And I'm so privileged and so lucky. So in those moments of stress, I feel like it's really important to remember who you are, what you love, and why you do the things you do. So that got me feeling a little bit better. And it made me think of today's guest because she has a book called How to Be an Overnight Success. And obviously that's a bit of a twist because the whole point is you can't be an overnight success. Life is a journey, success is a journey, and Maria is incredible. When I first started the podcast, I knew I wanted her on the podcast. I first met her when I was probably 20 and I was modeling for her brand, which is one of her brands called Nip and Fab. And I got to be on the campaign and in all of the shops, like boots on the counter. And we also did a makeup masterclass with Makeup by Mario, which was so amazing. He is unreal. This was in the era as well of like Kim K being everything. I mean, she still is, but I just wanted that Kim K glam. But instead we were doing a natural look, which is really sad. I really wished I could have had that Kim K glam. But yeah, remember being in awe of Maria and everything that she has done. She's the definition of a CEO boss. And it's been so amazing to sit down with her and actually have a proper chat. Because as much as I've met her over the years in small moments, I've never had a real conversation about her and learnt about how she became what she is today, how she built her brands, how she does that. I mean, she's got books on it. She's had a podcast herself. So she's just such an interesting person. And she's a dragon. She's a dragon on Dragon's Den Greece. Like, how iconic is that? I'm obsessed with her. So you're going to absolutely love this episode and just think she's unreal. So enjoy the episode and I'll see you soon.
Welcome to the Muse, baby.
Hello, Maria. Thank you so much for being my muse today.
Hello, Chloe. Good to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. We actually met so long ago now. I modeled for you for Nip and Fab.
Oh my God, it was such an amazing day. I remember the looks and the filming, and you looked gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
It was a fun day, wasn't it?
It was, and I feel like those jobs are always the best because I remember I was in the shops on the makeup stand, and then your parents can come and look at it, and your friends and family, and you can be like I'm a proper model now. I'm on the stands. And we did the makeup masterclass with Makeup by Mario as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
That was
a
so
great
good.
memory.
I've researched, this is a long time ago, wasn't it? Gosh, we're showing our age.
I mean, we still look amazing.
Oh, thank you. So I feel like you are the perfect muse because this podcast is all about inspiring women and also showing some reality behind their hopes and dreams, essentially. And you have achieved it all. I feel like when I'm researching you, I'm like, Maria, what a queen. Like, you've done it all. It's incredible what you've achieved.
I've done a lot. You know, sometimes I still feel I'm just starting out, but thank you.
Oh, I love that. It should always be like that, shouldn't it? Like, you should always keep going. So did you always have that drive to succeed from a young age?
Since I was 8 years old, I remember growing up in this tiny island in Greece, where I'm originally from. And all I wanted, once a month, I would walk from school to the local newsagent with all the international fashion magazines, Vogue, Bazaar, and I would wait for that day of the month get all my pocket money, buy the magazines, go to my room and go through the pages of glamorous women and fashion and beauty. And I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with my life, but I knew the woman I'd like to be. And I knew I wanted to be in a creative industry. I didn't know if it was beauty, fashion, but definitely that was the road that I saw myself taking.
Oh my gosh, I remember that, like getting those magazines and just being like, I just want to be something to do with that magazine.
Yeah, right.
It's a shame now, isn't it? Because now there's not magazines as much.
There's not as much, but I actually go and buy magazines. I'm very old-fashioned.
I love that.
Not every month, but even yesterday, walking back from Barry's, I finished my workout and I needed a bit of inspiration. And for me, it's something special. Like back in the day, we would used to buy magazines every month. And now I'll buy them every couple of months, or I feel I need to physically touch and feel and get inspired by something. Other than social media.
Yeah. So was it fashion that you first wanted to get into then before beauty?
So what happened was when I was 18, I moved to Athens, Greece, and I started studying English literature. The reality was I wasn't really interested in studying. And immediately I found a freelance job at 17 magazine. And so while I was there, I was doing everything. I was a freelancer, so I was doing beauty pieces, testing beauty products.
What an amazing job. That's like the dream when you're that age, I feel like.
Yeah, for me it was, I was 18 and it was a dream. I was doing a little bit of styling, so I did both beauty and fashion, and I was very young, I was learning.
And what led you to being like, okay, I think the beauty industry is what we're going to give it a go with?
I wish there was this big plan.
I feel like it never is. I love that.
Yeah, there never is. So while I was testing beauty products, I saw a gap in the market, and this is 25 years ago, for a serious range that would offer targeted treatments to specific skin concerns. Back in the day, there was nothing. There were 3 major brands with one cleanser, one moisturizer, one serum. That was it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to come up with innovative and exciting and revolutionary ingredients with fun packaging and all that. I wasn't ready to start a business, and I followed various career paths for the next few years, including working in finance.
I feel like you have to, because starting a business is a big thing. Like, to finally get there, it's not, as simple as you think.
And it wasn't something that I ever planned. I thought I would want to find a good job and, get a nice salary and work for someone else and then live life and
Of course.
travel.
It feels like it's a dream.
Yeah. And so I thought there was a point I thought finance is my future. And that job brought me to London. That was what brought me here in the UK and in London. And I was learning a lot, and it was a fast-paced environment, but also it was glamorous in its own way, like flying business class and wearing Prada suits. You had to dress like very elegantly back in the day. And a couple of years into it, I wasn't feeling it anymore. I was really demotivated, and I didn't see myself having a career in finance. So I became a very bad employee, showing up late, not doing my work properly, and not surprisingly, one day I got fired. And it was devastating. I was in my mid-20s, but that was the moment that I realized I want to start my own business. I love beauty. I'm going to go back to beauty. And that's how it all started.
Good for you, because I feel like a lot of people can be in that position. I feel like a lot of people listening might be the same and be like, oh, I'm in a job in finance or in something that I'm not passionate about. So for you to take that moment that could have been like your low point and turn it into something that is literally now 25 years later is still smashing it is so impressive.
Yeah, it's what I say in my books a lot. Sometimes you need a catalyst. You need something to shock your system so you can change direction and find your calling.
And you did. So you wanted to bring that change in beauty to the table. What was your first product?
The first big success was snake serum. And I remember it was year 5. We were in my first office. I had a team of 3. And we get a box with a sample of our first anti-aging serum, which was going to be, the bottle was white, the name we had on it was anti-aging serum, And I say to my team, how are we going to go to market with a basic product called anti-aging serum when everyone else has marketing campaigns and celebrities? The product felt amazing, and it was really transformational. So I look into the list of the ingredients, and one of the ingredients related to viper venom. So I say to my team, let's call it snake serum.
So clever.
So, I feel that was the first risk that I took, that put Rodial on the map. Before that, we were doing okay, we weren't doing great. And I feel it was that decision and that name. And then everyone started talking about this. What is this brand that is selling the snake serum? People didn't even believe it was a thing.
Yeah.
So that's how it all started, snake serum.
It's so clever. And back then, obviously, there wasn't social media. It's a completely different world, so it's so hard to get known. So was that the thing that made it different, and how else did you try and get the brand out there?
It was a different formula when we didn't have social media. It was more about doing an exciting photo shoot and then putting together a press release, sending it out. Then you have to be lucky. It has to be picked up by press, and it got picked up from the UK to Japan to Australia. So we were working a lot with press, and we were doing a lot of send-outs to old school celebrities like actresses and singers, and exactly like the old school type of celebrities who had the power back in the day to use a product and then give an interview in a magazine and talk about it if you were lucky.
You literally just had to hope for the best.
Yeah,
Send it out and hope for the best. And now you can make reels, you can do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, totally.
And what was there a celebrity that used it that you were like, oh my gosh?
So there was a time that we got a call from the Oscar after party organizers, and they asked us to provide snake serum for one of their after parties. They needed 2,000 pieces. And for me, 2,000 pieces was like my year's production. It was a lot of product. It was very expensive. And again, with celebrities and parties, you can give it in a goodie bag and the whole thing may go to waste because people may love it. But if no one talks about it in the press, then, what's the point? But we did it. And that year we got everyone. And suddenly we had Jennifer Aniston talking about snakes.
The icon.
Yeah. Even Tom Cruise and Jennifer Lopez. We were lucky. We were lucky, but also the product lent itself to people talking about it.
It's because they loved the product. Like, they wouldn't just talk about anything, especially people that huge.
Exactly.
It's because the product's amazing.
So that's how we did it back in the day.
I love it. And back then, obviously, you were starting a new business, you were becoming the boss. Like, was it hard going into that role? Because I always think it must be so hard to be the boss and tell people what to do.
Yeah, it was hard. And I feel that I've made a lot of mistakes managing and growing the business. And now that I look back, I'm thinking, oh my God, how did I do this? And I don't think anyone can teach you how to run a business. I feel every single one of us has to learn. And a lot of the decisions you make because you have the intuition and you have that gut feeling and it guides you and you hope for the best.
It's such good advice, though. You just have to go for it and learn along the way with all the mistakes. And obviously you were a female founder, and back then the beauty industry was still full of white men in suits, old men in suits. How did you find that? Did you ever get any sexism? Like, were you the only woman in the room ever?
For me, the hardest thing was when I was starting and I wanted to get investment in my business and get external investment. That was the point that I found it really hard, that I was presenting, and it was mainly men who were running the VCs and private equities. So I tried to get investment. I didn't. And you know what? We're still private, which is interesting. We never got investment.
That's so impressive, though.
All this time. And I've decided, you know what? It's a different way of running a business. You are never swimming in cash because when you get an investment, someone comes and throws a lot of money and you have the luxury of going and getting fabulous offices or spending it on marketing campaigns, and sometimes you have a return, sometimes you don't. So, for me, it taught me to be self-sufficient, and that every penny I spend in the business, I have to get a return. So it was the fact I didn't get investment was a blessing in disguise, and I think it made me a better leader for that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of, so like with this podcast, I've just gone and done it on my own, and I was thinking I could do it with people, some people have production teams and stuff. And I'm like, I feel like it's a bit sweeter when you do it yourself. It feels like it's more like you've done Rodial yourself. Like, it's so impressive. And you can always know that you didn't have anyone helping you, apart from your amazing team, of course. And how did you then pivot and keep it fresh, like over those 25 years?
For me, that is the key thing.
And so hard, right?
Being in business for such a long time and running a sustainable business. When we launched Snake Serum, we had to keep up with it. So the next launch could not be lavender oil.
No.
So we went with Dragon's Blood was the next big launch. And then we did Bee Venom. And so once you get into I'm an ingredient-led brand, and I need to come up with exciting and innovative ingredients. That was our journey. Mm-hmm. And that took us to a great place with 35 countries and 3,000 luxury stores.
Amazing.
But then there was a point that we needed something different. So that's when we pivoted to complexion. That led to the banana lowlighter, obviously.
Iconic.
That's become iconic. And who knew that starting from skincare and having, all those crazy ingredients everyone's talking about, that we could make it within complexion. So for me, it's all about looking at our customer and thinking, what does she want? Like every decision I make about product development, I'm just looking at our customer. And you can't be led by trends. Our customer is, I would say, late 20s to 40s, even 50s. And, she would never put glitter on her face. Mm-hmm. Even if glitter is the trend of the moment, she won't do it. So
she's chic.
She's chic, exactly. Or the packaging. There was a time that everything was all about millennial pink, and our products are bright coral and yellow and all those vibrant, powerful colors. And I was very disappointed that at that point, I unfollowed all the other beauty brands because I was thinking, this is not, doesn't feel right. We cannot be following trends. We cannot feel bad if there's a trend that we are the opposite. We have to follow who we are, create for a customer, and just stay in our lane.
Yeah, because it must be hard not to compare yourself, especially with over the years. You must see so many brands come and go, be the biggest thing of the moment, and that's what's incredible about you guys, because you can tell you've stayed like true to yourself, and that's what makes you a prestigious brand and makes you stand the test of time.
I think for me, it's a couple of things. One is the heritage, that's super important, and we've had customers who bought Rodial and then they didn't and then came back. But also the fact I see young girls who are in their early 20s and they come to me and say, oh my God, I love your banana lowlighter. Is Rodial a new brand? And for me, that's both a problem that a few people don't know. We've been around for a while, but also it's exciting to know that we have this young generation who discovers our products and they feel fresh and cool.
The banana lowlighter. I mean, if anyone's listening and they've not tried the banana lowlighter, like, where have you been? It is so good. I mean, all of your products are so good, but the banana lowlighter, I feel like, is probably your most famous product. Would you say?
It is, especially since COVID and the
I think it's because it's so light, but it does so much. So instead of doing like thick concealer, you can just put on the banana lowlighter and you're like fresh and bright. It's so good.
It's interesting. That was the product that became the success of the pandemic and the lockdowns, because everyone wanted an under-eye brightener, but the stores were closed, so you couldn't go and get brightener or concealer and match your skin tone. So the fact there was one product that fit a variety of skin tones, you can use it on its own, or if you have a darker skin tone, you use your regular concealer and you put it on top for that bright effect.
Yeah, a luminous effect.
I mean,
isn't it?
honestly, when I do my own makeup, I'm really bad. I give it 3 minutes, And then if I have to go to an event, I literally just put banana, low lighter, and a bit of glass powder. And people are like, do you have your makeup professionally done? And I swear to you, it's a couple of tips that you need to know to strategically lighten
100%.
your under eyes, and suddenly your makeup looks professional. So
Your powder as well. It's so good.
yeah, I know.
So blurring.
These two products, it's blurring. It's giving you that filtered look. So yeah, it's all about the.
Do you ever
tricks.
reformulate your products over the years?
All the time. All the time.
Obviously been so long.
We reformulate for a couple of reasons. If there is an updated version of one of the ingredients that we've used,
You want to stay fresh.
Exactly. We want to stay fresh. And also there's all these new regulations that come into play in the beauty industry. And we remove everything that could be an issue. Like, a lot of people don't know we're actually a very clean brand. We had a lot of vegan products. We've removed a lot of the silicones, and
That's amazing.
we are super clean, and we have a team who is constantly reviewing the formulas to make them the best possible.
God, it's so much, isn't it, to stay on top of?
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, people don't realize. They think it's so easy to create a beauty brand.
No,
Just
it's
have
wild.
a formula packaging, an Instagram page, and you're golden.
No, the behind the scenes is crazy. And why did you create Nip and Fab?
So Nip and Fab was created by mistake.
Really?
It was, we had Boots. They called me and they said, would like to stock Rodial in Boots. And I said, no way. Our channels are very different. Our customers are very different. And so they said, why don't you create a brand for us?
Wow, they loved you that much.
Yeah, they loved us that much. Can you do a diffusion range that has some of the DNA of Rodial and just bring it to the mass market? And so came up with a bunch of formulas, had a design team put some packaging and designs. We went there and they were like, we want you in 6 months, so you have an exclusive launch. And it was like, oh, is this happening?
Wow.
So that's how it started. But the interesting thing with Nip and Fab is it started as a spin-off of Rodial and had a bit of the DNA. But now it has...
It lives on its own, yeah.
It's its own personality. I have a different team running it and coming up with products, different customer base. And it has become this amazing brand I'm so proud of. But it's
so
very,
good.
very different to Rodial.
Yeah, it is, but it's amazing. It definitely does stand completely on its own to Rodial. But like, if like I'm in Boots and I'm like, okay, I need some skincare, that I would go to Nip and Fab. Like,
totally.
I love the glycolic, the wipes.
Oh, the
little
glycolic fix pads.
the pads.
Oh my God.
They're so good.
This is the product.
My husband loves those as well.
Yeah, like men use it, teenagers, hormonal acne, everyone. This is the product that got us Kylie Jenner. This is the story. It's the glycolic pads. So what happened is we were sending a lot of products to makeup artists, including Mario. And we were just launching the Nip and Fab pads, and he used them on Kylie to remove her makeup from a shoot. She loved them and posted them on Instagram. This was before
Amazing.
she became who she is. She was 16 years old, and suddenly we're getting all these calls from people saying, oh my God, what is this Nip and Fab brand? And we saw it on Kylie's Instagram. And so we thought, okay, well, it looks like she resonates with our customer. So let's just go a further step. And we did 2 campaigns with her within a year. It was fascinating.
They were iconic. What was it like working with Kris Jenner?
You know, what's interesting is it's very... I was in anxiety until I saw them getting in that plane and coming to London for
Oh my
the
gosh,
campaign.
because Kylie's kind of known as well. I mean, obviously she was younger back then, but she's known for like cancelling on things.
It was crazy. Well, first of all, the way that we connected was pretty uneventful and pretty easy. So
you're like, God, how is this going to go wrong? This is amazing.
So we sent an email to Kris Jenner on a Monday night, and we thought we're never going to hear from her again. And then we wake up Tuesday morning, obviously with the LA time difference, and she responded, they're interested. So we started a back and forth of emails, contracts, phone calls that took 6 months.
Really?
And but what happens is they do not sign a deal until 2 days before the campaign.
Wow. Why is that? Just in case something changes.
In case something better comes along.
Wow.
So we had booked everything, the studios, the events,
Anxiety.
the photographers, we had invited the press, so it was a big thing. And we didn't have a signed contract up until 2 days before the event. So it was a nail-biting experience. And we worked with her for a second time in LA. I think the second time was a little bit better. We got the contract 5 days before, so that was all right because we had to fly to LA. But it was a unique experience. It was a time that they were doing brand deals with beauty brands. They don't do them anymore. Everyone has
that's
their own
why
brands.
it's, of course, she's got her own, like Kylie Cosmetics and all that.
Exactly.
So how amazing, and like what a compliment to you, because they're very picky, the Kardashians.
It was just before, and she actually, in one of the interviews she gave, she said that, I did a couple of beauty campaigns recently, and I was very inspired to start my own range. She didn't name tag us, but I think she referred to us.
Oh, absolutely. And what are you most proud of from your journey? Is it that moment, or are there other moments like with Rodial and Nip and Fab? Other than obviously having me on the campaign. No.
Exactly, yeah.
Duh.
Loved that. For me, it was when we got our first Rodial counter in Harvey Nichols, and going from a brand that we started from a tiny shelf to have this beautiful counter next to Tom Ford and Estee Lauder and Lancome, and being among those heritage brands and seeing Rodial up there. For me, that was the moment that, I mean, there's been a lot of moments, but that one was like, I cannot believe it.
Oh, 100%. Like being in that place where all the designer luxury brands are, and it's high end, it's chic. Like, I'm sure you loved that. Like, I would love that if that was my brand. And where do you get inspiration from now?
Like
only 25 years later, how are you still getting that inspo?
You know what? It's every time I travel, and I don't necessarily mean travel for fun. When I travel for business especially, and I get out of my day-to-day and I meet our international partners, or, we visit stores, that's where I get ideas, and I sit down and we talk, and I'm like, oh, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And I love listening. I feel you get a lot of ideas by listening what people want. The other thing I do is once in a while I go and do store visits, and we have our sales teams on the floor, and I would go and we have a chat. What do you think we're missing? What are the customers asking for? So I also love a lot of that feedback.
Because you have to, don't you? You have to stay in it, hearing everyone's feedback and responses. And also I feel that that's good advice, that if you're feeling like you're not feeling any creative energy, you got to get out in the house, go traveling, speak to people.
100%.
That always helps me as well.
100%.
And what are your top tips for women in business? Because you're a business queen.
For me, the number one tip that I feel women need to work a little bit more on is networking. Mm-hmm. I find that networking is the most important thing in succeeding in business, because you need people.
Yeah.
You can support people. Other people in important places can support you. And so early on, building that network, whether it's other business founders or like-minded people, or I love attending conferences. I would speak to a conference, but I also would go and attend a conference and sit down and be a student again and learn. And it's not just the online piece, because I know there's a lot of online conferences, but it's about just being out there, meeting people, hearing what they're going through. And I learned so much, and I feel networking is underrated, and we should all be doing more of it.
I agree, because especially with social media now, people are just like sat at home on their phones. They need to get out there a bit more, because that's how, like, those people that you meet, you never know what could happen, who you need to call up. And, you always see, like, I first met you, 10 years ago? And here we are. So
here we are.
This is the proof of it. So fashion is obviously a huge part of your life. You're so stylish. How would you ever go into fashion as a business now you've conquered the beauty world?
I would not.
Would you not?
I would not, because fashion is my passion, and it is what takes me away from the day-to-day of my business, which is beauty.
Yes.
So I need to have that escape and be in that place that it's my hobby, and I don't need to care about revenues and sales targets and profit margins. I don't need to think about that. It's my safe place. But I have a lot of designer friends. David Colma is a great friend of mine.
Love David Colma.
He's amazing. And Natalia from Awake Mode, she's wearing her love top. And I feel that there's so many amazing creatives out there. I like to be their friend. I like to follow their journeys, but I leave business to them.
Absolutely. Fashion's like a whole other thing as well. But because you are such a fashion queen, what are your outfit tips for women in business?
For me, it's all about feeling confident. And let's say you have a business meeting that's very important to you. For me, I would go a little bit more conservative than usual, just to make sure I'm safe here. There's, I don't have too much décolleté showing. I don't have too much leg. I'm not wearing something that may show, a little bit too much leg that I'm not comfortable with in a meeting. So
or you're thinking about it in your head then, aren't you? You're a bit like, oh God, I feel a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, so my usual uniform is I always wear a trouser in meetings. I love when I see business outfits and skirts, but I don't know, I can't pull it off. So I usually wear a trouser, have like tons of different styles of trousers. This is Stella McCartney, the jogger one, which I love. And then I'll pair it with a top that has something a little bit more interesting, or if it's a little bit more conservative, I'll wear a fitted jacket. Or, what you're wearing, would wear like a waistcoat in the summer. But I feel that when you're in business, it's more about being put together, feeling confident, and not feeling conscious about something that may make you feel uncomfortable. It's just be yourself, and it's all about what you say and what you project, rather than showing off with an outfit.
I feel like a lot of people listening might be like, oh my gosh, I want to do what Maria's done. But they might not be confident enough, because sometimes you think, oh yeah, it's just a dream, it's just a pipe dream, but I could never do it. What are your tips to that person that's sat at home going, oh God, I couldn't do it? Like, what are your confidence tips?
For me, the number one tip is say yes to opportunities and figure it out later.
Love.
I find sometimes, especially in the world of social media, there's been times, and I'm guilty, I'm invited to go to beautiful events and attend something in beauty or fashion, and I've had a hard day, and I'm thinking, oh God, I'm just gonna stay.
I'm the same.
Put my sweatpants and watch a box set. And if I put a little bit of energy into it and make myself presentable and go out, I know it's going to give me so much energy. I know I'm going to meet some amazing people that you never know when, I would bump into them again. And I feel that putting ourselves out there and saying yes to opportunities, I think it's super important. And I know I need to do more of that. But
Me
every
too.
time, even last night I was at the Serpentine party with British Fashion Council, and I wasn't feeling
Amazing.
it. It was, it's summer here in London, but it was raining. And I'm like, oh my God, it's in the garden, it's going to be raining. I wasn't feeling it. And I went there, I bumped into friends I haven't seen for ages. I met some new people. It was fashion. I came back with so much energy.
Yeah, and inspired.
I reminded myself, I need to be doing more of that.
Oh my God, I do that all the time. I'm like, oh, I can't be bothered. You have to put your makeup on, do your hair, and you're like, I'd prefer to sit and watch TV. But then once you go, you're like, oh, I'm glad I did that.
Yeah.
Like, it's inspiring and it's interesting. So why did you decide to write How to Be an Overnight Success?
First of all, you cannot be an overnight success.
Exactly. That's why I love that name. It's so good. It's perfect for you as well.
Yeah, it is ironic. And I say on the first page, it took me 18 years, that's when I was writing the book, to be where I am today. But there's a lot of young people out there. I was getting messages on Instagram from young entrepreneurs saying, I started my business 6 months ago and it hasn't taken off and I'm demotivated, I want to quit. I'm like, 6 months is nothing.
Yeah.
You have to work hard and you have to be a hustler and you have to persevere, and anyone can be successful, but it just won't happen overnight. And for me, that's how it started. And I wanted to share my journey, with the real challenges that happen, because I find there's a lot of people who say, I'm an entrepreneur and it's my passion and everything's great. And that's not the reality. No. I talk about the wrong packaging being delivered, and then I had to get rid of it, and it was a costly mistake, or the logo was designed and you couldn't read it across from the shelf, and I had to go to a local printer and redesign it myself. And all the challenges that I've had the first few years to get where I am today and where Rodial is. So I feel it's a great book for anyone who is looking to start a business, to go freelance, and they know they want to do it and they're afraid of the challenges, because I break down all the challenges I ever had and how I dealt with them. So I feel it's a very useful and inspiring
No, it's
book.
an amazing book for anyone listening, especially, this podcast is all about learning about how you can better yourself and be inspired. So it's the perfect book for everyone listening. You're going to go and get it. But then you've also done 2 more books.
So my second book is called Make It Happen. And that was a lot of people who read the first book said, we loved your first book, can you write one for someone who's not in business and wants more of a motivational guide? And also a lot of requests, how do you combine work and family, which I didn't cover on the first book. So the second book, Make It Happen, is more of a motivational guide. And then my third book, How to Live Your Best Life, it's more of a manifestation Bible, and how to get to success, but still have balance in your life and not going crazy with it.
Which is so hard, right?
It is hard, yeah. It is hard.
It's all about the balance. And also now, you're in Dragon's Den in Greece. Can I just say that is iconic? What a badass. I feel like that's the dream.
It's
how did this happen?
Yeah, it was an interesting one, because I got approached years ago by Dragon's Den here in the UK.
Wow.
And I met Deborah Meaden, and we had some sort of auditions done, and then COVID hit and they stopped the process and they stopped filming. And so I kind of let it be. I didn't pursue it further here in the UK, and I forgot about it.
Yeah.
And then summer of 2022, I get a call from a friend of mine in Greece who is the CEO of a big TV channel, and he said, we are doing Dragons in Greece. Would you like to come and be a dragon? And I thought, what are you talking about? I live in the UK, my business is here, my family is here. How am I ever going to do that?
Yeah.
Originally I'm from Greece, but I don't live there, I don't have a place. So, I thought about it. This goes back to say yes to opportunities and figure it out later. And so I said, okay, well, figured it out. I have a very supportive husband who
loves that.
Supported me with making sure the business was running smoothly while I was away.
Oh, that's nice.
And, I took a travel back and forth to Greece for 6 weeks. But it's one of the best experiences I had.
Is it?
And
it just shows you never know what's around the corner.
You never know. And it's, after running Rodial for a while, it's very rare that I get opportunities to do something completely different and get out of my comfort zone. And even that piece of being new to filming and being in front of the camera and having to talk fast and ask the right questions. It was such an experience.
It's like a whole different world.
It was a whole different world. And, I'm glad I did it. I've done 2 seasons. I really enjoyed the whole process of the filming. And we're going to be doing season 3 in November, so I'm looking forward to that. So
that's so exciting. Yeah. And tell us about some of the businesses that you've invested in through the show. Like, how does it go? So how do you know one is a good one?
So first of all, people were surprised. They thought I would go in and invest in beauty businesses, but because this is my day job, I wanted to invest in different industries.
That's fun.
I'm very passionate about food. I am generally plant-based with everything I eat. And I'm interested in trends and products that are within that vegan, vegetarian type of nutrition. So I invested in vegan meat, of all places.
I feel like that's the future, isn't it?
That
so
is
many
the future.
people are going that way.
That is the future. I've invested in raw protein bars. So things that I like to eat, and I feel there's not enough of them. So, I've invested. It takes a while to see how the business goes. So I don't have any results for you yet. It's too early. It usually takes 5 to 10 years to even see any returns. But it's been a great experience.
Is it quite emotional, like listening to the stories of different people on the show and how they've tried to create their businesses? You must just want to help them all.
It is and it isn't, and some of it is real and some of it is bullshit because they want the investment.
Of course.
You can see through that. It's like, they're just playing a sad story up to get the investment.
They want to be on TV.
I feel that once you see a few pictures, you kind of get the vibe.
Yeah. So funny. If you could go back on your career and look back over these past, 25 years, what would you change anything?
I would change the way that I was very worried about everything. And a little crisis in my mind was the end of the world. And it's interesting because we were going through a crisis in the business a few days ago. And one of the managers comes to my office and says, Maria, what are we going to do? It had to do with the whole team leaving. What are we going to do? And I said, don't worry about it. I've faced this before. It's nothing. We're going to sort it out. We're going to fix it. Do not worry. But I feel to be in that place of being cool about things, you need
being
to have
calm is a superpower.
Yeah. And I've experienced crises of all sorts. My book number 2 starts with, I almost went bankrupt. So that's a crisis for you.
Wow.
That I had to solve. But yeah, I worked it out. And because I've been through so much, I feel I can see things and say, we can fix it. It's business. For me, health is the one thing that, we all should care about. And that's something 100%. That needs to be our priority. Business, it's fixed. There are ways to fix it. So
work it out in the end.
I feel I'm a lot calmer right now, and I was stressing out a lot. So I would change that, not stress.
I think that's really good advice, though, because people do stress over the silliest things. You can sit and get yourself worked up, but if you think about it, like, what's that phrase? If it's not going to matter in 5 years, does it matter now,
100%.
It's all good. And what is sort of something you live by? Like, is there a statement? Is there a quote? Is there something that's always been in your mind?
Make it happen. I feel that everything that we want in life, we can achieve it. I think sometimes we're blocked by thinking there's only one way to achieve our goal. There's so many, that the abundance is there. There's so many different ways we can achieve our goal. But to do that, we have to hustle. We have to hustle every single day. And sometimes I thought I would hustle at the beginning of my career, and I'm still hustling now on different things, but I'm still hustling. And I feel we all have the power to make it happen for us.
It's a never-ending hustle, isn't it? And if one door says no, you got to knock on another door.
Totally.
I completely agree. And final question, sad. Who is your muse and why? Because obviously you're my muse today, but who is your muse in life?
My muse is Anna Wintour.
What an icon.
She's an icon. I feel the fact that she has kept her position at Vogue for, I want to say 50 years or and close to that, if not 50.
Yeah.
It's a very long time. And she managed to keep Vogue to be what it is today, and always finding the right people around her and keeping relevant and keeping fresh in whatever she does at her age. I feel that she's an icon, and even though we're very different, I'm not a nice queen in any way, and I know she is.
I kind of love that she is, though.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great.
I'm super inspired by her, and I feel she's amazing. She's a muse.
She truly is. We need to stop wearing sunglasses everywhere we go. Give us Anna Wintour vibes. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Chloe.